Legal. I'm attorney Ethan Bearman. You know that $175 million bond in New York that the Trump organization needs to post? No, I'm going to give you the latest, the good, the bad, and what's next. So let's start at the beginning. Remember, the Trump organization was sued for civil fraud by New York Attorney General Letitia James. Judge Engoron found that the fraud occurred and found that the Trump organization, including Donald Trump, his two eldest sons, and others involved in the organization were guilty of this civil fraud, inflating the value of properties to commit fraud, essentially, is what that charge means, against loans from banks and to reduce their cost of insurance. So that judgment was for approximately $454 million from Judge Engoron. And for Donald Trump and the Trump organization to, I'm just going to combine refer to them as Trump. They were required, if they wanted to appeal the case, which they do, they're required to post a bond or an undertaking, and we're going to get to that in a moment, of roughly $464 million due to interest. They appealed that decision for the bond amount and got it reduced to $175 million before they could file the appeal. Well, Donald Trump filed a bond on Monday for $175 million. So I want to start with this topic. What is an undertaking? So we have to start with this term. It doesn't start with a bond. It starts with what's called an undertaking. The court orders an undertaking for you to be able to do something. In this case, he was found guilty and there's a fine. So the court says, if you want to appeal this and not have them start collecting against it, you have to post an undertaking. And an undertaking is something given to the court that allows whomever the other party is, in this case the state of New York, Letitia James is the attorney general, to collect against should they be able to proceed. So here, the undertaking, at least in California, and I believe it's the same in New York, it can either be in the form of a cash or cash equivalent or a bond issued by an insurance company that issues bonds. So that an undertaking can be cash or cash equivalent or a bond. And in this case, Trump posted the bond earlier this week for $175 million from a company called Knight Specialty Insurance Company. So now I want to explain what a bond is. It is like insurance. So you go and you buy a bond, and different kinds of bonds have different kinds of underwriting requirements. Typically, in the case where there is a cash amount that is owed or going to be due, bond companies will require at least that amount in cash. That's common. That doesn't mean it's every time. Each underwriting department at the different insurance companies will analyze things differently and put different, the actuaries will say, well, maybe we only need 100 million. Maybe I need 200 million from Donald Trump. There are fees associated, often from 1% to 5% in the amount of the bond. There could be interest. There can be a number of other things. But typically when cash is owed, property is not something that can be signed as collateral against the bond because property is not liquid. It needs to be a liquid amount when there's a cash amount due. So a bond is something you buy from a company that sells bonds. And in the state of New York, like California, these bond companies have to be authorized and registered with the state. In New York, it's a law known as CPLR 2502. An insurance company shall be authorized to execute the undertaking within the state. So again, they even refer to the word undertaking there. So what happened here? So Trump got this bond that was filed with the court as an undertaking in the amount of $175 million. And according to Knight Specialty Insurance Company, the head, Don Hankey, who's a billionaire, and there's a whole story about his work with Trump in the past, but he told CBS News on Tuesday, that Trump had provided cash or cash equivalent to them. And I want to read you the exact quote that he gave CBS News. First, he furnished, he meaning Donald Trump, about $120 million worth of bonds that we okayed. So we assumed it would be investment grade bonds and cash, but as it turned out, it was all cash. The little caveat here is he didn't turn over the cash. He gave them access to the account where the cash is being held so that cash can continue earning interest. That's interesting to me because often that would not be the case. The bond company would want the cash and put it in their own account so they have it available in whatever form that might be. It could be an escrow account. It could be something else. But the point is he kept it in his own account that they have access to. Now, often when cash is required and you don't want to put up your own cash for a bond, you can do something that's called an irrevocable line of credit. That's essentially a loan from your bank that's not paid out until the bond company requires that money to be paid out. But it's essentially a locked up loan that you get. So then the bond company is assured that they have access to that cash from your bank. And what's really kind of the bombshell here for Donald Trump is yesterday, April 3rd, the court made an order that says, quote, "The court has returned the documents listed below for the following reasons. Please include a current financial statement and power of attorney. Additionally, please list the name of the attorney in fact under the signature line on the undertaking. Please use the refile document link for doc number 1707 to resubmit the corrected filing. Thank you and have a great day." I love that they put that at the end. Thank you and have a great day. What this says is, as I understand it, based on another report that I saw on CBS, actually, that this insurance company is not registered with the state of New York for issuing bonds. So there are all kinds of specific different rules to be able to issue bonds in states where you don't have a license. Apparently, that New York has that. But the court is like, wait a minute, do you really have the money to pay this? I want to make sure I need a current financial statement because by law, a bond company cannot put up more than 10% of their assets for a bond. So that means for a $175 million bond, that would mean that Knight Specialty Insurance would have to have at least $1.75 billion in assets. That's pretty significant. And maybe they do. I don't know. They didn't file it. And so the good here, I want to get to the point for you. But the good of this is it looks like Trump maybe didn't post a proper bond, which means Letitia James, as soon as we find out if the court says, no, this bond's no good, Letitia James would be able to start collecting against the Trump organization, seizing assets in whatever form they might be. The bad here is the bond company can simply submit the documents requested. And if they're sufficient, the bond is still good and Trump will be able to appeal in the state of New York. So that's what's next is we're going to be watching for if the bond company supplies the court with the correct documents, and if they're sufficient, then the bond will be accepted. If not, Letitia James is going to be able to go right at it. Look, I love your comments. Please submit them below, and you'll notice I do respond where it's appropriate. Love for you to click that like button, share it with your friends, your family, your frenemies. It's really important that you share as well, and smash that subscribe button. This is Really Legal on the Really American Network. I'm attorney Ethan Bearman. I'll talk to you next time.